Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today I've got a whole lot of brand new Tom Ford to show you. I've got the reformulated Tom Ford lipsticks, two brand new shades, and two there are older ones that they've reformulated, and I love those two shades, so I had to pick those up. I've also recently picked up, it's the soft matte blurring powder, so I'll show you that, and I do have thoughts on that. And also just recently in New Zealand they launched, it's the brand new Tom Ford, it is a creme blush, and there's also 3 satin matte lipsticks that were also launched, and I picked up one of those shades as well. I have done all my skincare for the morning, but I haven't put on primer yet, and I'm going to use the Tom Ford one. This was only recently released, and it's called the Tom Ford Shade and Illuminate. It's the soft Radiance primer. This has an SPF of 25 in it. Now this would be really suited for those of you that have dry skin. I can use this time of the year. It's still winter here in New Zealand, and when I'm wearing a soft matte type of foundation, this goes really beautifully and does add a beautiful radiance to your foundation. But if you have dry skin, you will absolutely love this. It is a beautiful primer and gives a really beautiful base to your different foundations. Now, of course, not only does it work with the Tom Ford foundations, but with the other ones that I've used as well, some other foundations I have in my collection, it also works beautifully with those. It's just that with my oily skin, it's more suited for me if I'm using, like I was saying, more of a soft matte foundation. And then for foundation, I'm going to use, this is also newly released by Tom Ford. He's having a lot of new releases this year. This is the Architecture. This is the soft matte foundation. This is absolutely gorgeous. I did a dedicated video on this, and I'll pop a link up there if you want to take a look at this. I explain it more thoroughly. I do a wear test, and I also show it in natural light as well. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous foundation. So I'm just going to put one pump of that on the back of my hand. You can see the formula runs down my hand a bit. Considering it's a soft matte foundation, it's not at all like a flat matte. It gives a really beautiful, beautiful finish. And this suits my oily skin perfectly. And although I haven't tried it in the middle of summer yet, I'm sure that it's going to work beautifully during those warmer months with my oily skin. It's just really, really beautiful. And as you can see, it gives a solid medium finish. And of course, you can always have it more sheer if you want to. I've used one pump, and that is certainly enough. Now this does build really beautifully as well. So if there were some areas that you wanted a little bit more coverage, then just have to pump out a little bit more, and it's a great pump. It's one where you can control the amount that comes out, and you can just put it in areas where you want that extra coverage. And for concealer, I'm going to use the Tom Ford. This is the Shade and Illuminate one, and I've nearly used this all up. Now initially with this one, I didn't think much of it. I thought it was a little bit heavy, but the trick with this one I've found with my mature skin is just to put on quite a small amount. I find this a solid medium finish heading towards a full coverage, so it really gives a decent amount of coverage. It's just that you need to put on a little amount, and when I started doing that, then I ended up really loving this concealer. So I'm just going to blend it out initially with my BK Beauty brush, and then usually what I do with my concealers is I then tap over using my fingers. So off camera I did my eyebrows. I also put some eyeshadow primer on, and I've also powdered under my eyes. Now I'm going to powder the rest of my face, and I am going to use the brand new, it's the Tom Ford Architecture. It's the soft matte blurring powder. And what drew me to this powder was I thought it's a soft matte, which is going to be really good for my oily skin. And I've tried it about probably at least 4 or 5 times since I got it, because I wanted to give it a fair go. Now it is a beautiful powder, but if you have oily skin, it's not one where I'd really rush out and buy, and it's probably difficult to try and get a sample of it. With my oily skin, I do have better powders. I've got the Chanel, the Natural Finish loose powder, which I absolutely love. I've also got the La Prairie one as well, and those are two of my favorite powders. They seem to work just really well with my oily skin. So the description of this powder is, it gives sublime softness, a cloud-like veil. The formula comforts skin while spherical powders help control shine. The superfine translucent powder blurs the look of imperfections with a filter-like diffused matte finish. And they say the key benefits of this, it's formulated with hyaluronic acid. This formula provides a smooth, seamless application, instantly mattifying to help control shine, lightweight, breathable, soft matte finish, and perfects foundation to create a seamless complexion. So the packaging of this is like the eyeshadow quads that come in, and this has, let's have a look, it has 9 grams of product. It is made in Italy, and it has a shelf life of 12 months from date of opening, and it also comes with one of those velvet pouches as well. So now let's take a look inside. So this has been used, as I was saying, and it also comes with a small brush to apply the powder. So as you can see, some of the embossing has worn away already because I have used it, and here is that small brush that I was telling you about. So I've used this powder using this brush, as you can see, and I've also used it using a brush and also a powder puff as well. Now it does give a beautiful finish, there's no doubt about it. It's just that I don't know whether it would help control my oil like I would hope it would, especially in those warmer months. What I do like about this is it's easy to take with you throughout the day. So if you wanted to touch up and reapply through the day, then this is very travel friendly, and of course has this little brush. So I'm going to use the brush and just show you what it's like. And it is very soft. As I'm sweeping the brush across, a bit of powder kicks up, and just sweep it through. Now it does have a blurring effect, so as I just sweep it through there, it does give a beautiful finish to the skin. It's just that it's not quite matte enough for me, and I don't like a powder where it would be too mattifying, but I just know that in the summer months with my oily skin, then I would have to reapply this quite a bit during the day. Now, if you had combination, normal to dry skin, then I think this is a powder that you would really love. It does give that beautiful finish. It does have a blurring effect like they say it does. It's just, as I was saying, I just don't think it would control the oiliness like I hope that it would. Oh, and I forgot to mention that I picked this up in shade 02. There are 4 different shades. So it does apply really beautifully, and when I touch it now, and this is after the first time I applied it as well, it doesn't have that dried down effect like the other 2 powders that I was mentioning, the Chanel and the La Prairie one. I've got 1 or 2 other powders that I use quite a bit as well. The Sicily one is also very good. My skin feels very smooth, and when I talk about it's not dried down, I don't mean that it feels really dry or it takes any of that glowiness or anything away from your skin. But when you try different powders like the Chanel one that has got that little bit more mattifying in it, you can definitely feel the difference on your skin. And although, like I was saying, this does look beautiful, I don't think it would hold up that well during those warmer months. So now off camera, I'm just going to pop some eyeshadow and eyeliner mascara on, and then when I come back, we'll take a look at the brand new, the Creme Blush. So now let's take a look at the brand new, this is the Tom Ford Creme Blush. This is the packaging that it comes in. This is the shade number 01 First Blush. This is made in Italy, it is limited edition, and it has 8 grams of product, and I am going to do a couple of comparison swatches as well. So this is the velvet pouch that it comes in. You've got the TF for Tom Ford, made out of little hearts. And here is the packaging of the blush. And here is the blush itself. Again, just like that velvet pouch, has the TF in the middle and the little hearts. There was also a little bit of confusion with this blush because they said, well, there's the hearts, Valentine's Day isn't until next February, why has this been released? But apparently it was released alongside, it's the Chinese Valentine's Day, and I won't try and pronounce the Chinese word for it, but I will pop it along here on the screen and you can look it up further if you want to. But this release has coincided with the Chinese Valentine's Day. Now, this has been released in New Zealand. I got this at Smith & Co's, also in Australia as well, and I will put links up for those. Also in Asia, I don't know if this is going to be released further to Europe, the USA, or to the UK at this stage. I'm not too sure. And also alongside the blush, there's also 3 satin matte lipsticks, and I picked up one of those shades. So you can see this is in absolute pristine condition, and I haven't even swatched it yet. So this is a cream blush. It feels really beautiful. So here's a swatch of first blush. It's with one swipe, and I'll just go over it again. And it feels exactly the same as the Tom Ford Cafe Creme Blush that was released earlier, which is absolutely beautiful. And alongside that swatch, I'm going to put the Tom Ford, this was the Cafe Creme Blush. So I'll do a swatch. Now I know just by looking at them now that they are completely different. So here is the Cafe blush. So you can see this is that beautiful pink with that brown in it, just a really beautiful shade, whereas this is quite different. It's almost like an orangey red. And I'm also going to swatch beside it maybe 1 or 2 of these brand new. These are the Chanel, these are the cream to powder blushes. So the first one I'm going to swatch next to it, this is Rose Radiant. And then because this looks like it has that little bit of that orangey red in it, I think I'll also swatch as well the other Chanel, the cream to powder blush, and that is the one Rouge Franc. So here is Rose Radiant. And this is the one Rouge Franc, so I'll swatch that one next. And here is Rouge Franc. More of a watermelon colour. So here is the Tom Ford First Blush, the one that I'm going to try today. So it's definitely got more, it's warm, and it's got more of, it's almost like a brick red. So let's try this on. I'm going to use the Sonergy. This is the Sheer Buffer, and I don't have any bronzer on yet. Now I'm going to go fairly carefully with this. The formula, as I was saying, does feel beautiful though. It's beautiful and creamy, just like that other Tom Ford Cafe one that was released. Well, this looks much better on the cheek than I thought it was going to from the swatch. I think that it looks absolutely beautiful, and this is a really gorgeous formula. Now, of course, it's different to the new Chanel blushes. This is purely a cream blush. The others are cream to powder. But I think that shade is really beautiful. I wasn't too sure when I swatched it, but now that I've put it on, I think it's really beautiful. So it's always interesting to see, because there are times when swatches compared to what it looks like on the face are completely different. Now that it's on, I think this is a really beautiful shade. It also will build really beautifully as well. So I'm just going to, just for the video, what I've got on is enough for me for my everyday makeup. I'm just going to tap very lightly and again, and just pop a little bit more on so you can see that it can be built up. Really beautiful. So just a light tap again and just very lightly on the other side. Now I haven't done it today, but with the other blush it also applies very beautifully using your fingers or a beauty blender, and since this is the same formula, it would apply really beautifully as well using those other methods. But I think it looks really gorgeous. So much better than the swatch looked like. So the lipstick that came with this collection, I'm going to pop that on last. First, let's take a look at the 4 shades of the Tom Ford. This is the Satin formula. They are now reformulated. And I picked up the 4 shades. We have got Spanish Pink, which is one of the original shades. I've also got Casablanca, which is also original shade. The 2 shades that are new is 06 on repeat and also number 19 Runway Rose. But I'm going to try all 4 on for you. And just before I show you the lipsticks, I will take a photo or find the new ingredients of these lipsticks and I'll pop it up here so you can pause it now and take a look. So first of all, we've got 06 on repeat. Next is 19, and this is Runway Rose. And this is one of the original shades, 01 in Spanish Pink. And finally 03 in Casablanca. And here are the 4 shades swatched. So we've got Spanish Pink, Casablanca, then we've got Runway Rose. Casablanca has more brown, a bit more depth. It's a bit warmer than the Runway Rose, and finally is on repeat. So I'll try on the 2 new shades first. First of all, I'm going to do number 06, and that is on repeat. And I suppose the big question about these reformulated lipsticks from Tom Ford is, will they last longer than their original ones? Because they didn't have that great of a shelf life, and they ended up smelling, they get that sort of Play-Doh scent, and that can happen quite quickly. But I won't be able to tell you that. I would have to update you in probably another year or so and let you know how they're going. So number 06, this is on repeat. So they are that satin formula. They feel beautiful going on, very pigmented, and this is, it's like a burnt orange shade. It is really gorgeous. Next is number 19, and this is Runway Rose. So this is a really beautiful shade as well. I think it looks really gorgeous. And the next one of the original shades, and this is number 03. This is Casablanca. And I've had this shade before, so I think this is really gorgeous. It is on the same colour story as Runway Rose, but really beautiful. And last one of the reformulated lipsticks, this is 01. This is Spanish Pink, and this is probably my favourite shade. And Spanish Pink, no wonder it's my favourite shade. It is just absolutely beautiful and definitely an everyday type of shade for me. It's really gorgeous. And finally, we'll take a look at the lipstick. There were 3 in total alongside the creme blush, and these are a satin matte formula. I picked up the shade number 94. It's called Plus One, and this is the packaging that it comes in. It feels very beautiful, and I love this red. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. And on the top, it has the Tom Ford logo. So here is number 94 Plus One. And I'll put it next to my other swatches. I'll do a couple of swipes. This is gorgeous. This is a nude. It is a brown pink. It's absolutely gorgeous. Really beautiful shade. Now, even though these are mattes, this is a satin matte. So the ones that I've tried before, they are very comfortable, but they have that staying power of a matte lipstick. The formula is really, really beautiful. So out of the 3 shades, I'm really pleased that I chose this one. I think it is beautiful. It is a gorgeous nude shade. Has that brown, but it also has a little bit of that pink mixed in as well. It is absolutely gorgeous. And I may as well use a Tom Ford fragrance today, and I'm going to use the one, this is the ombre leather. It's in a smaller travel size. I love this. People may say that it's maybe more of a masculine fragrance and it has that very much leather smell, but I absolutely love it. It is quite strong and I think it has really good lasting power as well, but it is really, really beautiful. So I think that the finished look is very pretty. So the powder that has just come out. Now in the room today for the first time in a few months, it's actually getting quite warm in here under the lights. I do have the windows open a little bit as well, and there is some nice cooler air coming in. Now, this has also shown me how this powder probably would wear in very hot weather. I feel like I need to powder again. So if this was mattifying enough for me, like those other two powders that I mentioned, the Chanel and the La Prairie, and also, of course, the Sicily one as well, I wouldn't feel like I'd need to powder so soon. So I'm just going to go in with this little brush and just slightly go through the T-zone again and just through my forehead. Just so it is powdered down. And the other times that I've used this powder, I did find I had to pick it up during the day and also do a quick repowder as well. So I wouldn't really recommend this for people with oily skin, but for those of you with normal to dry skin, then I think this powder would be absolutely beautiful. It has that hyaluronic acid in it, and it also does have a really gorgeous blurring effect. The blush is just gorgeous and looks so much better than it does actually even in the pan and then the swatch. I think on the cheeks it is just absolutely gorgeous. And if you like this formula, if you like that cafe blush that came out a little while ago, then you're going to love this. It is identical, blends out beautifully, and this shade is beautiful, and it is different to the cafe blush as well. Really, really gorgeous. The lipsticks are lovely. As I said, with the reformulated ones, I don't know how long they're going to last. That's something I'll have to update you on in maybe about a year's time and see whether they are still okay and they smell all right as well. But at this stage, those two new shades are really beautiful. And of course, the originals, the Spanish Pink and the Casablanca, they are also really beautiful shades as well. But my favorite lipstick is this limited edition Satin Matte one. This shade, number 94+1, to me and for me is the absolute perfect nude. It is a comfortable formula. It lasts really well throughout the day, and the shade is just absolutely gorgeous. So the blush and the lipsticks are winners, but the Architecture, the soft matte powder, not so much with my oily skin. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.